What's up, guys? Silver Warrior here, and today what I'm going to be talking about is how you can save a lot of money when buying silver. And I'm just going to go through this video quickly. I understand it's kind of late, so sorry for that. Sorry for the late upload. I'm trying to be more consistent with uploading these videos earlier. But either way, what I'm going to be talking about is just a few different forms of silver and how you can save big money on them. First one I'll talk about is, of course, some junk silver, which I have right here. And a lot of people, they get their junk silver one of a few ways. Either A, they buy it from big companies, or B, they buy it off of eBay. Two mistakes, because both of them are going to be jacking up prices. You see, what you want to do is there's a few ways to save a lot of money on any type of silver, and one of them is to cut out the middleman, okay? Because for every person you have that's trying to make money off of silver, they're going to have to make their price a little bit higher than the last person. So if you cut yourself in a little bit deeper into the business, then what you can end up doing is buying as a middleman, almost paying middleman prices where you could sell the silver for something like a big company sells it for and make money. So you're paying less than them, obviously. So that's a way to really make, or not even make money, I mean, but save money when you are buying any type of silver. But with this in particular, there's a few places to buy junk silver. In person is one of them, and you usually don't have to worry about fakes because they're lower value coins. They're not really usually worth faking anyway. And also, a lot of times you can tell when someone's, a con artist or not. I wouldn't recommend buying, like $100 coin off of somebody because there's a good chance that that's going to be fake. But some stuff like this, it's all very, very low premium, very close to spot coins, and you could easily, tell if they're fake or not to the point where there'd be no point of doing so. Another type of, or another way to buy the junk silver is off Instagram. I've noticed that a lot of people do run some pretty good deals, whether it be flash sales or if you're buying in bulk. Like when I bought $50 face value of Kennedy half dollars, I was able to get quite a good deal. Paid about spot for those, which I was pretty happy with, and I've sold a couple rolls since. But I was able to pay a very low price, and the 5 Benjamin Franklins I got, I paid below melt for. Paid $3 below melt for those. So I was pretty happy with that as well. I paid $30. The dude wanted 38 originally. I was like, I'll give you 30, best I can do. Melt was like 32 at the time. He was like, all right, I'll do it. And it melts around 33, I think, for 5 of them right now. And those coins are definitely worth a little bit above melt value. I could probably get 38, $40 out of them. Not that I'm looking to make, a $7 profit, but at the same time, it's a great way to add to the stack. If I could do that with 100 coins, then you'd be talking about some serious money. And that's the big thing is a lot of people will go on Instagram and they'll be trying to sell to you because they're desperate. And as long as you know that they're trustworthy, I mean, you can get a pretty good deal. You can make people low offers, and a lot of times they'll accept them because they're desperate to, you know, to make a little bit of money just to be able to pay for some bills, whether it be credit card debt they have or just some kind of unforeseen financial emergency that they have to deal with, whatever it is. You can really get some cheap silver doing that because a lot of people are willing to sell at a loss if they have an immediate bill to pay or just something else that relates to that. So definitely just buying silver off there in general, but people especially like to let junk silver go pretty cheap. And just I recommend if you're not going to buy from anywhere, it's definitely big companies and eBay. Both of those will rip you off with junk silver, with the exception of silver and nickels. Sometimes on eBay those go pretty cheap. I one time bought, I'm trying to remember how many rolls it was. I think it was 4 rolls or 5. It was a lot of rolls that I ended up getting for like $25, $30 under melt, which is pretty great because I was able to sell them for melt and make a little bit of money off of those because I sold a lot of rolls of nickels for melt and ended up making a decent amount of money on Instagram. I mean, because melt for silver nickels is about a fair price, I'd say. And if you're buying for around, or if you're selling for around that price, you can usually, make people pretty happy with that price, and it's a good way to sell silver nickels. But other than that, you're not really going to get any good deals, especially 90%. People will hike it up, and in auctions, I've seen rolls of Kennedy halves go for $150 when melt was $120. So it's really just not going to be worth buying. And I mean, 10 Morgan dollars can go for upwards of $250, things like that. Which the next thing is higher premium coins. I don't recommend buying those in person. Again, not big companies or eBay because on there they'll go for pretty much top dollar. I don't recommend buying them in person as well because a lot of times they can be fake. Even if they're graded, people can figure out how to fake that. Buying off of Instagram is one way to do it if the seller is really trustworthy. There's a lot of good deals on there from bigger sellers who you can trust. I'm not talking about the ones that come in and get $1,000 from the community by scamming everybody and then come back out of it. I'm talking about the people that are actually have hundreds of sales established. A lot of times they'll end up selling at higher premium stuff pretty cheap. And other than that, there's not usually any good places. Just sometimes look around eBay for misspellings. That's the only thing I can say. Maybe if you really know a person well, like a friend or something, then buy them off of them. But other than that, it could be a pretty big scam. Finally, if you're going to be buying something like silver bullion, whether it be poured or it be pressed, there's a few ways to do it. If you're just going to be buying poured silver bullion, then the only thing I would differ is saying maybe try buying from the actual person that made it themselves, buying direct, as opposed to buying from somebody who's just reselling their products to make a profit. Those would be the people that actually pour it themselves, especially if you're big in the community. Like my channel has enough subscribers where I'm kind of well known in the community. I know a decent amount of the silver pourers, and I feel like that knowing them and having established myself a name in this community for over 3 years of posting, I would be able to go in and talk to somebody, get a decent deal off them, especially if I used a decent amount of money and bought in bulk, which is another thing. Buying all silver in bulk will definitely save you a lot of money. That's how I saved money on these Kennedy halves. That's how I've saved money in the past and on those silver nickels, and it just will for sure save you a lot of money. Trust me on that. But anyway, back to this. Poured bullion, definitely try to find the actual pours themselves, especially if they're smaller pours, because a lot of times they will sell stuff pretty cheap or be willing to negotiate to a price you can afford and are willing to pay. Now, in other places to get poured silver bullion, it will probably just be the same as pressed, but again, not big companies. In eBay, sometimes generic bullion actually is a good deal. And big companies, not for poured bullion, but for generic stuff, actually aren't that bad. Most of them will charge too much from time to time, but some generic bullion actually goes for pretty good prices. Like JM Bullion will sell sometimes sunshine bars for around spot, which is a very good deal. Like 5 and 10 ounce sunshine mint bars seem to go very cheap from them because I guess they got them for a really good price, but they'll do specials all the time where they sell them really cheap. And other big companies will sometimes sell generic silver. You really don't have to worry about it getting damaged or anything with other like you do with other stuff, because who cares? And you'll actually sometimes really get good deals from them. Not on poured bullion, but on generic bullion. Same thing with eBay. Sometimes there are good deals to be had, especially in like variety lots and things like that on eBay. Sometimes people aren't willing to pay that much for them because they don't understand what they're buying. But at the same time, you could easily get scammed. So it's all something to worry about when you're buying on eBay. And then Instagram, of course, just like always, I'd say there's a lot of good deals. Maybe not so much on the generic stuff, but on poured bullion, definitely. We'll sometimes sell for even a little bit above melt or around melt value. So that's definitely something to look for. And then finally, in person, if you're going to be buying, that kind of risky for both of them. They could be fakes. Maybe not poured bullion so much, unless the person's like, yeah, I pour it myself. It could be kind of risky. Maybe have it tested before you buy it, unless they're like a good friend. But even then, friends will sometimes scam you. So it really has to be something you can trust. And I'm not going to offer advice on that just because I don't know exactly what. Like, I'm not like a psychologist, so I can't tell you how a person should be acting or shouldn't be. The one thing I will say is that do make sure that you are personally trusting the person, and it's not based on just feeling bad for them, being like, oh, he's my friend, but actually they're a reputable guy. They're not a scumbag, and other people, if you ask them, they'd say, yes, he's a good guy, or she's a good person, whatever. It's a person that is reputable, not a person that you're just shielding yourself from and protecting in your own mind. And other than that, I do hope you enjoyed the video. That's it for this one. Peace, love, and much respect.